Rivian Automotive has just released its financial results from the second quarter of 2022. And, all I have to say is it's lucky Jeff Bezos has deep pockets because he's going to start needing to pull some cash out of them soon. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Rivian Q2 2022 financial results. Net loss increases to $1.7 billion US. Rivian posted revenue of $364 million and said it had 98,000 reservations for the R1T and the R1S, electric pickup and electric SUVs respectively, as of the 30th of June 2022. Now, I think we all fairly knew that demand is not the issue here. I think we all knew that Rivian had a lot of reservations. I mean, 98,000, that's a lot, right? The number of reservations is never going to be the issue for these startups. I don't think it is. There's crazy startups you've never heard that have tens of thousands of reservations. Unbelievable. People are just like, well, I'll throw money here, I'll throw money there. It's amazing. Reservations are definitely not an issue for pretty much any company, except maybe for General Motors with the Bolt. Surprisingly, they don't have a whole lot of reservations for those. But anyway, for the most part, reservations are not an issue. The issue here is Rivian actually making a profit, or not necessarily making a profit, just not losing too much money while they ramp up production before they build their second factory, right? They need that second factory to build more cars. And I'm sure that second factory will be much more efficient after they learn a lot of things from this first factory. Same as Tesla, really. Look at Fremont compared to Shanghai. Shanghai obviously is way more efficient. And probably Texas and Germany will be probably more even efficient than China as well. Not cheaper, but more efficient. So Rivian's financial results. It shows they're burning through cash at a faster rate than ever before. Yeah, that is not good. As I predicted, Jeff Bezos will eventually end up owning a very large percentage of this company. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. It depends on your opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Rivian, revenue, $364 million. Net loss, $1.71 billion. Net loss in the same quarter last year was $580 million. So their net loss is tripled for the same quarter. Tripled. That's concerning. Meanwhile, expenses in the quarter fell to $360 million from $431 million a year earlier. So in other words, they invested less, right? A certain percentage of those losses are investments. You build out factories, you build out, robotics, whatever it is, production lines. But it appears as though Rivian actually invested less and spent more. I don't know where all the money went. Maybe more employees, potentially. Now, the second quarter of last year was when Rivian was readying its assembly plant in Illinois for the start of production. So that's why they invested more money in that same period last year. And I'm guessing, like I said before, they've got more staff now. That's where a lot of this money is probably going. The company warned it now expects to post a wider annually adjusted loss before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization of $5.5 billion. An annual loss of $5.5 billion. Now that could blow out to even $6 billion by the end of the year, potentially at the rate at which they are losing or burning through cash. Now Elon Musk said that Tesla's factory in Germany is burning cash like it's some sort of game, And he said the same thing about Texas, but I don't think it's anything close to what's happening at Rivian. Rivian burned through $1.2 billion in the second quarter of this year. But it said it still has $15 billion or $14.9 billion to be exact US dollars in cash as of the 30th of June, enough to cover the $5 billion allocated to open a second US assembly plant in Georgia in 2025. Now, obviously, the only reason they've got that cash is because they floated on the stock exchange. Without having done that, they wouldn't have all this money. They just have what was invested from Ford and Rivian. And there's a few other small investors as well. But because they floated, they made a lot of money out of that. That's where all that came from. If you're wondering, it wasn't from making profits from selling anything. To help conserve cash as output increases, Rivian said it has delayed some programs to 2023 and implemented cost-cutting measures to rein spending priorities. Without providing any details on what they are, we can assume they're things like what Tesla did, cutting down on toilet paper use, removing soap from bathrooms, making people not wash their hands, forcing people to work 90 hours a week for minimum wage. I mean, that's what Tesla did, isn't it? That's what all the haters say, don't they? Tesla did some cost cutting, right? It wasn't what I said, but some people would like you to believe that that's the kind of crazy stuff Tesla was doing. It wasn't. Tesla was just doing what the smart thing was, which was looking at all their costs, working out which ones they didn't need or which ones they could reduce. That's what Rivian has to do, and they have to do it real fast. They should have been doing this a long time ago because they are just burning through cash. I mean, if you just was standing, right, you lit a fire full of cash. Let's say there's $1 million in cash. You just lit it on fire, and then you were pouring $100 notes on it. Imagine there was one person, picking up a $100 note and putting it on. You wouldn't be able to do it fast enough to actually burn this amount of money in a quarter. You'd need to maybe 50 people throwing in $100 notes constantly. In addition, Rivian said it will seek to optimize spending on increasing output and developing the R2 platform for the Georgia plant. The other thing that Rivian has going for it, which I spoke of before, is the pre-orders. 98,000 for the pickup and the SUV, but they also have 100,000 pre-orders from Overlord himself, Jeff Bezos, for the Amazon electric delivery van. So that's 200,000 pre-orders in total. Does having 200,000 pre-orders mean you're safe from bankruptcy? No, it doesn't at all. It means that essentially you've got lots of cars to build at a loss. That's what they're doing right now. It is. To be fair, they're making a loss on their cars that they're selling. Can they get from the position of not making a loss? Well, I don't know. I think it's going to take at least 5 years if they can. By the time that has happened, in my view, it's very likely Amazon, Jeff Bezos, someone will have had to bankroll a fair bit of the company, or they'll have to get big loans. Whatever happens, this kind of cash burn, it's simply not sustainable. That's the reason why Elon keeps going on about saying Rivian and Lucid, their position is not as good as you think, because this kind of cash burn is just not sustainable over the long term. That's why Tesla nearly went bankrupt, right? This is the kind of scenario that Tesla was facing. And they only just got out of it by the skin of their teeth. Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe said during the Q2 conference call that the R1 series is not likely to benefit from tax incentives at all, meaning the $7,500 tax credit in the new Inflation Reduction Act bill passed by the US Senate. In fact, he complained that the bill unfairly favors Tesla and General Motors, who have been unfairly maligned, really, by having run out of tax credits a long time ago because they did the right thing and made lots of EVs. So I strongly disagree with RJ on this. I don't think it favors them at all. I think it favors American manufacturing and having affordable products. If Rivian are not able to sell any vehicles at all under $75,000, I mean, that's ridiculous. That just means they need to do what they're planning on doing now, which is using LFP batteries in their vehicles. They need to do it sooner. Get those packs in. Get LFP batteries into the vehicles. It'll reduce the cost significantly. But make a cheaper version. You don't have to make them all luxury versions. They don't have to all have the full luxury experience. Surely you can make a vehicle for $70,000. That's still a lot of money for a truck that's not much bigger than a Ford Ranger. I mean, it's not a very big vehicle. I mean, if you look at, say, the Cybertruck, it's a much bigger vehicle than this. One thing he did note, though, and he's hoping on this, the CEO is really, really, crossing his fingers, praying this is what will happen. That Rivian vehicles will qualify for subsidies of up to $40,000 per vehicle for large electric commercial vans, similar to the ones it's building for Amazon. If it did qualify for these $40,000 subsidies, that's a game changer. That's massive, because Rivian, Amazon, they're in bed together. That means they save $40,000 per vehicle. That's enormous. In addition, the company's future R2 line of consumer vehicles, due in 2025, should also qualify for tax credits because they will have a domestic battery supply chain, which is a good thing for American manufacturing. So kudos to them. They deserve that. Rivian maintains its production forecast of 25,000 vehicles for this year. In Q2 2022, the EV maker built 4,401 vehicles and delivered 4,467. It seems to me that 25,000 is incredibly optimistic. I'd prefer if they were realistic. They're doing what General Motors is doing, just giving you this, and Lucid as well, giving these ridiculous production numbers that they're very, very unlikely to hit. I prefer if they just be actually realistic. Forget the hyperbole, forget the marketing, and then over-deliver. Under-promise, over-deliver. That is the key, in my opinion, to getting trust from the market. Since the start of production last year at Rivian's plant in Normal, Illinois, they've built 8,000 electric pickups and SUVs combined. Now, one of the things I noticed in Sandy Munro's video when he purchased a Rivian R1T and he actually took the vehicle apart piece by piece is he said they're building it like a $200,000 luxury vehicle. He may be right, he may be wrong, but either way, it's costing Rivian a lot of money to build their pickup trucks. They need to change what they're doing, streamline it, make it more efficient, somehow reduce the cost of the vehicle for them to manufacture. Otherwise, I think they could be doomed. But let me know in the comment section below what you think. As always, have a great day. Bye-bye.